Kirk being killed, HBCUs were targeted with bomb threats. Now, a MAGA hate group decides to go to Tennessee State University. They call themselves the Freedom Tour. And what they do, they go Fearless Tour. They go to these college campuses. Now, here's the deal: they showed up at Tennessee State uninvited, did not seek permission, and set up their table. And the whole point. This is what the whole point was. You see right here, DEI should be legal, deport all illegals now. Then they got upset because students grabbed their signs and tossed them. And then, of course, they were escorted off campus by security. Now, the videos have been going around social media. Let's just roll it, turn the audio up.
All we did was set up a table.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, if y'all have followed this channel for some time, you know that as a black man with multiple college degrees and a law degree, I have been a staunch advocate in the past for higher education. Well, some things have changed and some things have remained the same. I am still an advocate for education. I'm still an advocate for higher learning, but I am not in 2025 an advocate for formal education from some of these college campuses in America, particularly HBCU campuses where the graduation rate is abysmal, barely even cracking double digits. Makes me think that something is going on there. You're reeling these students in, but you're not graduating them. Are you just setting them up for failure by bringing them in as freshmen, allowing them to take out thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in student loans, and then just leaving them hanging in the lurch such that they are in debt tens of thousands of dollars before they reach 20 years old? And yet they have no education because they're not graduating. They're getting the money and dropping out. Who is allowing this to take place? Well, we ain't going to dump it all on HBCUs. We're going to dump it all on higher education as a system. We understand that these kids are not being educated properly. They're not being informed properly. After all of that financial burden that's being placed on them, they are going to class and facing liberal professors who are teaching them the wrong way, socializing them the wrong way, and not preparing them to be successful in society. Exhibit A, Tennessee State. You had some people come on this campus in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And we knew this, y'all. Anybody with a half a brain knew that Charlie left such a void in the conservative political spectrum that some people were going to step in and try to fill that void. Many people would step in and try to fill that void. And here you have in this video that we're going to react to today, you got some people who went on the campus of Tennessee State with MAGA hats and microphones. They weren't aggressive at all, but they tried to spark a conversation with students on that campus, knowing that it was a provocative presentation, knowing that they might not be welcomed in that space. And here's my issue with the whole thing, because I have been talking to your children, to your sons. I talk to them as I talk to my own sons. And if there's one thing I can't stand, it's an emotional man. A man that reacts emotionally before he thinks. He responds physically before he processes information. He lashes out based on some prior pain in his life, perhaps in his childhood. Perhaps he's angry because his daddy wasn't there. Perhaps he's angry because he has so many uncles in his life because his mama was for the streets. got so many things going on in his mind that at 18, 19 years old, freshman in college, he ain't dealt with yet. And then he gets in class with these liberal professors who tell him how to process these things, these emotions through a spectrum of liberalism, and he can't take it. So when these guys show up to campus, you on some feminine energy, some emotional energy. You haven't learned to control yourself. You are not self-aware as a young man. And you lash out in circumstances like this. It makes you wonder what higher education is teaching these kids. What kind of influences are they facing even on HBCU campuses? We all know we got some crazy cousins. We got some crazy uncles and brothers. But we don't want them acting emotionally like our crazy aunties, our crazy sisters, sometimes our crazy mamas. We don't want them acting in effeminate ways. And yet, when you get on campuses like this, with higher education, they're training these brothers to crash out. Listen, y'all, I teach these principles for a reason. I talk to your sons in a certain way for a reason, because there are millions of black men in prison for acting out emotionally. Over, you going to prison over what you talking about, over what you looking at. Somebody bump into you, somebody step on your J's, and you end up with 10 years or more in prison because you couldn't handle a simple situation that could have been resolved easily. You have been taught, you have been trained to be an emotional man, which is my pet peeve. Let's get into this video and see how these people reacted to an adverse situation that I would have told them to expect. Because you're going to have thousands of people trying to be the next Charlie Kirk moving forward. You are going to have to protect yourself. Control those things which you can control. Don't be emotional and don't be ignorant.
So what part of our systems is for people of color?
All of it. The entire system is for everybody. Anybody who's an American citizen.
So you feel like there's nothing. So you feel like everybody is equal.
Yeah.
And
I mean, everybody's equal in their rights, but not everybody's obviously equal in their, what they have. Like, I grew up in a double wide trailer. He grew up in Boca Raton, so we didn't grow up equal. We're both white. I mean, he's a Jew, so that's probably why he grew up in Boca Raton. But so we're not equal in what we possess as we start always, but we are equal in what we're allowed to do, our opportunity.
Can I ask you, do you think that there's any law that allows me to do something that you can't do, for example?
I don't think there's any laws that say that you can do something that I can't. But then again, this system can't be ignored. Like, we can't just say it does not exist, because there are countless examples of it existing.
Maybe just one example of what you're talking about. So what's wrong with the system that allows, I guess, racism to be systemic or institutionalized?
I mean, I would argue the opposite. Like, again, we have civil rights acts on top of civil rights acts, in addition to the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. 14th Amendment being written for the sole purpose of expanding and equalizing the rights of white people and black people. And furthermore, the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause echoes exactly what, like, the Civil Rights Act says, right? You cannot be discriminated based on your inalienable characteristics, like your race, your sex, your sexuality, etc.
But even though we have these laws, that doesn't stop it from happening. We still know that.
You're right, racism does happen still, even though there are laws that ban it. And I think that those laws are oftentimes used to enforce a culture of anti-racism. In the United States, we actually cancel people for being racist all the time. But we have in the system, as far as the system goes, you can't stop people from being racist on an individual level, unfortunately. It happens in every country, on every continent, all around the world, and it has since the beginning of time. But what you can do is make it illegal to institutionalize it by saying, you can't allow you have to allow everybody to eat at your restaurant. You can't not admit people based on their color. You can't prioritize people based on their color, etc. And I would say that I would say getting rid of DEI works towards that objective.
So y'all had say "Make America Great Again." How do y'all feel that America is not great, and how do y'all feel that America can be great again? And when was it great?
Yeah, I would say that the most recent example of America being great was the first term of Donald Trump. And then we had 4 years of Joe Biden in chaos, and then Trump is president again. So this was his campaign hat for his, lead up to his second term.
Now, y'all, in this video, I appreciate the young man for coming up and being inquisitive. I always teach the young people, keep asking questions. I've never met a successful man in my life who didn't want to talk about his story, his journey, his pathway. Most of them write books. All you got to do is go to the library. If you ain't got no money, go to the public library, check out the book. He will tell you everything about his journey because he's proud of it. And all you got to do is emulate the playbook. Take some notes. Write it into your own personal business plan. Implement some things that you saw Sam Walton implement. Implement some things you saw Steve Jobs implement. Bill Gates. You can find a way based on proven principles. But let me tell you something. The one thing that is not a proven principle to success is being an emotional individual that acts out before you think, that acts out, lashes out before you process information. And that's exactly what happened on this campus. Because people are not being trained in these early college years. Let's just call it your freshman year in college. Because most of these people ain't graduating anyway. So perhaps this institution should implement some things early on in the curriculum that would plant some seeds into these young people's lives that might help them moving forward, because this little opposition that came onto your campus was peaceful, was respectful. And I appreciate the young black man for getting up, asking questions. I love it. Keep asking questions. Keep inquiring. Keep investigating. It's going to help you grow. But these young people sat at this table in Charlie Kirk-esque form. And all of a sudden, these folks got triggered to the point where violence was in the air. Now, you can't say that you're mad at certain people for calling you a violent society, a violent culture, when the evidence is right here on camera. They came in peace, and you responded with violence. These young people with all that energy. This is the response you get on a campus like this. This is the best we have to offer y'all. We think that our college students, our educated, are the elite amongst the blackity blacks. This the best that the community has to offer? I think not.
A few moments later.
Come on. Yo.
Oh, you better not, boy. You better not.
Okay. Bring the sign back.
You guys touch children. You guys fuck.
Showing them the door.
We walking them to the door, y'all. I don't even know how they got on campus. We gonna figure that out, but I don't know. They need to get like a trespass, penalty or something, because
Sending them off.
Tell him it's that boy. He thought he was gonna come up like Charlie.
yes. Say good job, TSU.
Good job. Shout out to my school.
Going to an HBCU while being a whole white supremacist wearing a MAGA hat is peak white privilege. Peak white privilege. And I'll tell you why. He knows nothing's going to happen to him at that HBCU, because if it does, it's only going to make the black folks look like animals, look like thugs. And that's the narrative he knows he's going to be able to spin on them. So them young black kings and queens at the school, they already know, man, if we put hands on dude, we're going to look like the bad guy. No matter what we do, we're going to look like the bad guy. That is peak white privilege. Because if Black Lives Matter sat up a table, 3 of them sat up a table to go into a freaking college that is majority white MAGA folks, and they went over there to debate, you guys would sit here and say them black folks went over there to start some trouble. They don't belong here. Call the police. Call the cops. Get them out of here. This is what we mean by white privilege, bro.
Hey guys, it's Leash. Listen, I know I'm looking a little rough. Just got finished working out. It is what it is. But y'all, the MAGA folks that went to Tennessee State University, which is an HBCU in Tennessee, the folks that went there to basically harass and wreak havoc on that campus are none short of just vile. These are children. These are students that are seeking higher education to better themselves, potentially their family, their communities. What are you doing?
Now, this is the kind of energy that I like to see, because you're showing up to an HBCU campus unprovoked for absolutely no reason but to antagonize Black people. And here's the thing. The antagonistic behavior towards Black people has continued to increase since Charlie Kirk's death. Whole time, Black people had nothing to do with it. We just minding our business, our Black ass business. But to try to trespass on somebody's campus to promote what you know is directly in opposition of said campus is egregious. And I personally feel like they should have been arrested. But since we all know how that go, I'm proud of my HBCU brothers and sisters for doing this.
A clash on campus sparking a debate about the First Amendment. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Carrie Sharp. Members of Fearless Debate say they were just trying to create conversation and discourse on Tennessee State University's grounds.
But the NAACP's Nashville chapter says the group came to campus with rhetoric aimed at provoking and demeaning students. News Channel 5's Aaron Cantrell tells us how the fallout is having a big impact.
Because this incident has gone viral, it's sparking strong responses from not only students, also alumni, advocacy groups, and beyond. The group behind the Fearless Tour, a grassroots organization inspired by the late Charlie Kirk, says it's bringing honest conversation and open debate back to America's college campuses.
I would say getting rid of DEI works towards that objective.
On Tuesday, the conservative commentators entered Tennessee State University, a historically Black college without permission, according to officials, bringing a table, microphone, and inflammatory signs, sparking outrage from students. Campus police and staff responded, removing them from the property.
You know, in a university, I think particularly in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk, there are some genuine security issues, not just for people on campus, but for people who might be coming in.
TSU says students conducted themselves professionally and respectfully. Social media posts from the group show students shouting, filming, and following them as they were escorted away. John Vial, a contributor to MTSU's First Amendment Encyclopedia, says TSU had the right to remove the group under its policy requiring advance approval for demonstrations.
You know, what TSU has done, as far as I can tell, is perfectly legitimate. There are different rules for different places.
But the NAACP Nashville chapter goes further, saying this was not just political expression, but an intentional effort to antagonize, disrupt, and instill fear in a space meant to be safe and supportive for Black students. They added, "We are both infuriated and alarmed that groups like Fearless Debates are targeting HBCUs in 2025 with rhetoric that echoes a long history of exclusion, racism, and systemic oppression." TSU representatives say they are reviewing all video footage to determine how the individuals gained access to the campus. In Nashville, Aaron Cantrell, News Channel 5.
Thanks, Aaron. Meantime, Congressman Andy Ogles is chiming in on what unfolded on TSU's campus, posting on X, quote, "Why is TSU not condemning this attack on Cam Higbee?" That is one of the members of Fearless Debates. Ogles added, quote, "If rigorous debate can't happen on college campuses, why are we funding them?" Meanwhile, TSU's Counseling Center says their doors are open. Staff's ready to talk if anyone might need support.
And there you have it, y'all. The conservatives are stepping up in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. They are emboldened to hold strong to their positions of conservative principles. They are emboldened to go into spaces where they know they might not be welcomed. But y'all are inviting them in because what they know is when they step into these spaces, y'all ain't ready to debate. Y'all ain't ready to have a conversation. Y'all ain't ready to even have a mature exchange on these campuses that are supposed to be places of higher learning. No, they are places of lower socialization. Y'all ain't learning nothing in these spaces. With 11, 12% graduation rates, all y'all know is how to stomp around the yard, how to clap your hands and represent fraternal organizations, how to dance a little bit. The culture has overtaken education. And that's why the community is down bad. No, we're not just trying to get right in the streets. We're trying to get right on these campuses that y'all are using to fleece the community, to fleece the federal government for funds that are supposed to be helping these kids. But if you would get in there and investigate the administration on some of these campuses, you will find that there is no intent to help these children. There is no intent to provide higher education. There is only a fleecing, a grifting that is going on these HBCU campuses. And money ain't gonna fix that, y'all. That are sitting there in the administration of these campuses with your hands out. You don't need money. You need a better direction. You need better instruction that is face to face with these kids on a weekly basis that can pour into them and make them better. Not ideologues that are interested in pouring certain perspectives into them that make them worse, such that they act out as emotional people. And y'all want to be all butthurt when somebody call you a monkey, and yet you put in a situation and you act like a monkey. I need you to do better. I need you not to crash out. I need you not to throw your life away and give up your freedom over foolishness. And the fact that people are still doing it in situations like this by the hundreds on this particular campus, by the thousands based on the number of blackity black men who are in prison for having emotional outbursts. Boy, you gonna go spend the rest of your life in prison on a what you looking at? On a what you say about me, what you say about my mama, I'm willing to give up my whole life and just crash out over something that trivial? Man, we got so much work to do out here on these streets. Yeah, we like to think that our campuses, our HBCUs, our places of higher education, higher learning, are doing a good job, but let's just be real, y'all, as we try to rebuild this thing, as we try to advance and move forward, these institutions are not helping. Because if they're going to take your 18-year-old child fresh out of high school and saddle him with tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and then he ain't even going to graduate, well, you setting him up for failure. Why are we even going through this exercise? Boy, go to trade school, learn how to work with your hands and make some money. You'll be better off for it than spending 2 years, 3 years, however many years you spend on this campus before you crash out, because they're not getting degrees. What is it all for? It's a social experiment that is conditioning our young people. Some of the best among us, some of the brightest among us are being conditioned by a left liberal agenda, even on these blackity black campuses. And it is not serving the community at all. I was disturbed to see this video. It's a free campus. It's a public campus. These people can come on here. They obviously had authorization. They had a table set up. Campus police knew they were there, which is probably the only reason they made it off of that campus in one piece. Shout out to security. Shout out to the campus for protecting these Americans. But shame on these students who are being taught and conditioned to act out in emotional ways that are not going to bring any benefit to their lives moving forward. It's disturbing, it's upsetting to know that our young people are being trained to be crash dummies for the left. Y'all let me know what you think about this. I would love to know your thoughts on this issue. Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time. Peace.